Hi, Seema. We missed you in the meeting today. There was an AGM and we remembered you.
Yeah, sorry, I had some meets lined up.
Yeah. I can
So
see
we
Linda.
have started.
Hi, Linda.
So we have started and we are also live.
Okay.
Live on YouTube?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Joany, give us a minute. We are going to just start it in a minute. I'll introduce you and then we'll let you. Yeah.
Okay. And I will see the presentation too.
Yes.
Good. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm talking
You go to
about.
the presentation and you tell next, and then Sanskriti
Yeah.
will go to the next one. Yeah.
So we are at 6, Dr. Parul. Would you like to start?
Yeah. So good evening from India, everybody. And we are delighted that we could host Joany today from EMDR India. And now I've also been told that we can officially host it from EMDR Asia associations as well. So welcome to Joany. This is, I would say, the first of our series of mini workshops, which we'll be doing in the months to come. And we are delighted by the absolutely overwhelming response. In fact, we are even live streaming this because we couldn't get so many people on Zoom. So we are going to have a YouTube link as well. And we have shared the YouTube link. So if anybody drops out, they can come back on the link. There is going to be a few worksheets on the chat box as well, which we will be sharing, which have already been shared with you. And I would like to welcome Dr. Joany Spierings. She's a psychologist and a psychotherapist. She works, I think she's been working since more than 40 years, if
Yep.
not more. But looks young as ever. And she specializes in trauma and complicated grief. She has been the founder member of EMDR Europe, the Dutch EMDR Association, and the vice president of HAP, as well as HAP Europe. She was given the Trauma Aid Europe Humanitarian Award in 2017 and the David Servan Schreiber Award in 2019. We all know Joany as the absolutely exuberant, lovely, wonderful woman whom we met
Oh,
recently.
Parul. Oh
conference,
God.
and she's wearing an Indian or an Asian outfit, and I think double thumbs up just for that, Joany, today. She says that I asked Joany that rather than introducing about EMDR and complicated grief, what is it that she truly loves? And she said it's teaching. So she doesn't see active clients anymore and has gone full time into teaching. So I think that's a very, very noble thing for her as well as for us. She also is very fond of animals and has a house in the woods. I think we are already very, very jealous just to hear that, Joany.
Yeah.
She loves things like wood carving and crafts, and I think I'm always jealous when people are so creative in so many other fields. So maybe that would be a topic for another day. But without further ado, I would like to welcome Joany.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming. I messaged her, and within an hour she said yes. And I think I'm
Yep.
personally extremely touched, Joany, for doing
Yeah.
this for India and for Asia. Thank you once again.
Okay.
Not,
Okay.
I will not waste any more time. We will start with the presentation.
Okay.
Just a few
And
rules.
first an answer to you, Paru. If you envy me, my advice is get retired.
Oh,
That is, oh, it opens up so many possibilities.
I'm sure
And
it.
then keep doing the things you love and woohoo. It's a
Yes.
very good time of your life. Okay.
And look, I
Can
will.
I see the presentation?
Yes, I will begin with the presentation, which Joany then we will be presenting, and Joany will tell us to go next.
Yes.
I would request everybody to mute their mics. All the questions, if they can put on chat, and towards the end, the even on YouTube, whoever is seeing it, please put it on chat, and we will then collate it, and we can ask questions maybe after the presentations. So over to
Okay.
you, Joany. Thank you so much once.
Okay. And they do the slides because I am an how can I say, very incompetent with Zoom. I always press the wrong buttons, and I think it's not a good idea to let me do that.
I think
So
this is
I'm
easy.
grateful that you do it.
Complicated grief that's more complicated, and what you're going to teach is more complicated. So really,
I
this
hope
is
so.
something for
I
us.
hope so.
Thank you.
Okay. So today is about arousal management. And uh, arousal management is, to me, the way I worked with clients, the basic of the basic of the basics. It's the fundament below everything that we do, and the very very. Can you go back, please, to title page, please?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is the first thing I do with clients. Um, Sometimes already in session one, other times maybe in session two, but at the very, very, very beginning, because it helps client to be a good client for therapy, and it teaches them skills that they need to be a good client, but also that they need in everyday life. Everything in this presentation is very, very much everyday life. Um, Nothing hocus pocus or bloody bloody, all very much down to earth. And um, tonight I got this idea, you know what? In this workshop, I will do it for you exactly as I do it for my clients. So uh, I took a couple of photographs that show you how I do this with my clients, because it's such a useful foundation for the therapy. Can I have the next slide, please? Good. You start from an empty page. You do not give the client some already fancy psychoeducation, bloody bloody. You make it for them while they are sitting in front of you, because you want them to pay attention every second. You want them to sit on that chair like, what's happening here? What's coming? What does she say? You want them to be there, because this is so essential. So you start from an empty page. For every client, I start from an empty page. And next slide. I draw an x-axis and an y-axis, and that is the start of it. Next slide, please. Then I start to draw the fluctuation of arousal. And I tell them, for every human being, you, me, everybody out there, for every human being, the arousal in the brain goes up and down and up and down and up and down the whole day, every day. And if it doesn't, you are brain dead and you don't need therapy. But every living human being has fluctuating arousal all the time, depending on what's coming in from outside that can bring you arousal up or down, or what's coming in from inside, bringing the arousal up or down. So everybody, every human being has fluctuating arousal all the time. Next slide, please. Now there is an upper boundary and a lower boundary, which is very important and has a lot of consequences for therapy. I tell this to you, therapists, not to my clients. I say, you, with this fluctuation, there is an upper boundary and there is a lower boundary. Then I move on to the next slide. If the arousal goes up above the upper boundary, threaten danger, threaten danger, threaten danger. Hyper arousal. If the arousal goes beneath the lower level, light is burning, but there's nobody home. No client is no longer there with you. And that's called hypoarousal. So hyperarousal, arousal is too high. Hypoarousal, arousal is too low. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. Then I take a second page to draw for them the 3 brains that we human beings have. I always ask, did you know we have 3 brains? And then my client thinks, ooh, I never knew I had 3 brains. They are very interesting. And I draw the first one and I tell them that when a baby is inside the womb, growing, the 3 brains are developed in the same order as during the evolution. And the oldest and simplest brain is the reptile brain. And as you can see here, I use the color blue for that one. I hope you can see it. It's the color blue, reptile brain. And our brains are all about survival. All of these 3 brains help us survive. But they each have a very different job to do. Reptile brain, the survival job of the reptile brain is what I call keep the machine going. Breathing, blood pressure, digestion, heartbeat, things like that, all to keep the machine going. You can imagine if you are in a coma, the reptile brain is the only brain that is still functioning. We need it to keep our body going and functioning. So that is a very important contribution to our survival, but it's not the only one. It's not enough. Next slide, please. Next brain that is developed is the mammal brain, and the reptile brain is called the reptile brain because we have it in common with the lower animals. And the mammal brain is called the mammal brain because we have it in common with the higher animal species. And the mammal brain is also very, very much specialized in survival, but in a very different way from the reptile brain. The mammal brain is about dangerous threat, dangerous threat. And the mammal brain helps us to escape when there is a threat to life, when there is an enemy. So please realize already that this is hot stuff for traumatized clients. For traumatized clients, this is, and that's why how can I say, that's why I make this piece of the psychoeducation very important. And I do that by bringing some theater in it. And I will show that to you. And I do the same for my clients. The mammal brain helps us to stay alive when there's an enemy or deadly threat. And the mammal brain has 4 programs to do that: fight, flight, freeze, and submission. And each of these 4, I make a point of making that very clear to my clients. Each of these 4 are brilliant survival strategies. And then I start to explain that to them. And there's a little bit of theater with that, but that helps them to really absorb this psychoeducation. Okay, fight. It's a beautiful survival response because what happens? There comes a tiger. Oh, and I give a push in the head, bam, and tiger goes down, and I have survived. Brilliant survival strategy. But not if you are a mouse and a cat is your enemy, then it's not such a brilliant survival strategy. And that is why the mammal brain has 4 survival strategies, not just 1. So 1 is fight. You just kill the enemy. No problem, you survive. But the next one, if you're not able to kill the enemy or it's not wise or whatever, the mammal brain activates the second program, flight. It's like this. There comes the tiger, and I run, 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 run. I run, I run, I run, 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 run. And 10 miles later, I look over my shoulder. No tiger there anymore. I survived. Done. brilliant survival strategy. And then comes the third one, freeze. And this is for trauma clients. This is a very important one because all my trauma clients were like that, freezing when the perpetrator came. And they hate themselves for that. They say to themselves, oh, you should have fought, you should have resisted. So this freezing response is very important for them to understand. And this is how I help them understand. I say freezing, that means you are like wood, motionless and very stiff, high muscle tonus, like a wooden board, like that. And then I ask them, how is that a brilliant survival strategy? I want, how can I say, I ask them because I want to involve them maximally in this psychoeducation. Most of the time they don't know why freezing is a brilliant survival strategy. And then I tell them the brain of a predator is programmed for movement. That's the secret. The brain of the predator is programmed for movement. Think of this. There's a cat in the sun spinning happily, and then suddenly there's a ball of wool coming by, and the cat says, "Stop." The cat attacks the ball of wool. Why? Cat is not hungry. Cat is not angry at the ball of wool. It's the movement. The movement of the ball of wool activates the attack response in the predator. Movement activates the attack response. And being motionless deactivates the attack response. That's the secret. That is why freezing is a beautiful survival response. And I heard that in the United States there are these wild parks with nature and stuff like that. And there's a sign on the entrance, and it says, if you if you come face to face with a bear, please stand still and do not move. That's the same. Motionless means deactivating the attack response. And then comes the last one, surrender. And surrender involves also, it's motionless, but not high muscle tonus, but very low muscle tones, like a cloth. And it's like you look dead, but you are not really dead. It's for a moment I don't know the English words. Feign dead, maybe. And then again I ask my clients, why is that a wonderful, beautiful, brilliant survival strategy to pretend dead? Why? And then they have to think, and then they don't know, and then okay, because a predator will only eat what he himself has killed. If I killed it myself, it must be healthy. And if it's already dead, maybe it's rotten, maybe it's poisoned. A predator will only eat prey that he killed himself. So if you are already dead, you're not interesting. And the predator will go somewhere else. And that is why total submission is a brilliant survival strategy. So this is how I explain to my clients about the programs that the mammal brain will activate or deactivate in threat and danger. And then I tell my clients, you have no choice. The mammal brain makes the choice, not you. Because if you would make the choice, that could easily cost half a second. Yeah, there is a tiger. What shall I do? Fight him or run away? That's too much time. By that time you are dead. So the mammal brain activates one of the survival strategies, and that's it. So later on in the therapy, I need my clients to have this information about fight, flight, freeze, and submission. And for you, therapists, I don't do that for class, but for you, therapists, please realize the first three are sympathetic nervous system, and the last one is parasympathetic nervous system. We'll come to that later. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. The human brain, the third brain. Also, the key business of the brain is survival. That is what the brain is for. And the reptile brain is about survival of the body. Mammal brain is about survival in the face of threat and danger, and the human brain is survival as in information processing, as in understanding your environment and seeing connections and seeing patterns, interpreting patterns, and developing knowledge about the world. And this knowledge will help you to survive. If you know, for example, about seasons and when to plant vegetables and that kind of information, that will help you not to starve from hunger. So the human brain at another level, at a higher level, the job of the human brain is information processing. Very helpful. Please realize here that trauma information is information too. It's the human brain that does the trauma processing information, of the trauma information processing. And there we come to a very important issue that when it comes to therapy, we absolutely need a human brain. Mammal brain is great for saving our ass in danger, and the reptile brain is great for keeping our heartbeat going and stuff like that. But we need the human brain for therapy. Can I have the next one, please? Now, I started with this arousal fluctuation, talking about lower boundary, talking about upper boundary, and above the upper boundary, mammal brain is having the control. Below the lower boundary, reptile brain is in control, and in between is optimal arousal area. And you can see for the mammal brain, I use red. For the reptile brain, I use blue. And for the human brain, I use green. Green area, optimal arousal area. And another name for that optimal arousal area is window of tolerance. And for clients, this is, how can I say, they always find it very interesting, and for them it's new knowledge most of the time, like, oh wow, 3 brains, oh wow, hyperarousal, hypoarousal, yeah, and then it's your little step up to give the message. For therapy, we need the human brain, so you need to be able to stay within the window of tolerance. And arousal management is about that, teaching the client to stay within the window of tolerance. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, this is I thought I had another one, but I'm a bit confused. Maybe we should go back to the last one and I will talk you through it, okay? Yeah, so, oh yeah, I see the things already. You have explained to your clients that it is absolutely important to stay within the window of tolerance so the human brain can do its job. And that means that the client has to manage their arousal and has to learn to keep arousal within the lines, which means if arousal is going too high up, they have to learn, it's going too high up, I have to bring it down. And if it's, you can see that there on the screen. And if it's going down too low, I'm spacing out. I need to activate myself to get back into the window of tolerance. So when arousal is too high, I have to bring it down. If it's too low, I have to bring it up. And that is what clients have to do. Basically, every minute, every hour, every day, and especially within therapy. And how can you teach a client to do that? That is the next part of our presentation. Can I have the next slide, please? This is more for...
Maybe keep going on chips. Should always nice now.
How much is it?
Okay, I will just continue.
That's it.
This is how can I say, a little bit more formal description. It's for you. It's not for the client. For the client, you draw it yourself in the here and now, and with your client paying very close attention to everything you draw. Okay, can I have the next one, please? Yeah, this is also for you, not for the client. This shows you what mental activity is possible in each of the arousal areas. In hyperarousal, it's fight, flight, freeze, submission. In hypoarousal, the client is numb, dazed, not fully there. That's blue area. And in between, enduring, processing, that's the kind of mental activity that can take place. And you need that for trauma treatment. You also need it to teach your client valuable skills, valuable arousal management skills, or valuable affect regulation skills, or valuable attachment skills, or self-compassion skills. So this language of hyperarousal optimal arousal, and hypoarousal is a language that you start to speak with your client. And if you really give them this psychoeducation so they really understand, they are so much better as a co-therapist. And you can work much easier together once you know, oh yeah, this is what we aim for, or this is what we want to avoid together in the therapy. Can I have the next one, please? Okay. Some more discussion of the, is there part of my thing is blocked. I cannot see it fully. Can you do something about that, please? I can see only a part of the slides. I didn't
Sanskriti,
push
can you
any
adjust
button.
it? Sanskriti, yeah, 1 minute. Can you make the size little smaller?
Yeah,
Then
maybe.
it will all fit.
Mhm.
Yeah, just a little bigger. Yeah. And then go to the next.
Now I will need my reading glasses.
It will happen this week. Yeah.
I wonder what's
Sure.
happening. Let's
Yeah,
continue. Let's
Just
continue.
wait for a moment.
And I have the next one and the next one.
For the slideshow now. Yeah. Just a minute, Johnny.
Next one, please. And the next one. Yeah. Those 4 programs for danger and threat, they are so important to traumatized clients. So I really give them a lot of information. They are activated by the limbic system, which is another word for the mammal brain. They are epigenetic, which means you are born with them. They are always a part of your program, but they develop, so they are genetic, but they develop during your lifetime. And your experiences have an influence on how these programs are activated and which programs are activated. Because for some people, the more active programs are activated, and for other people, the more passive, depending on your life experiences and, oh, something's happening. Yeah, you. Can I have the previous one, please? I was still talking on the previous one. Can I have the former slide, please?
Yes. Just give us a second. There has been some glitch happening. We are just
Yo,
fixing
thank
that.
you. Thank you. No, you have no choice. And it is so important for traumatized clients to realize I did not choose to fight or to flight or to freeze or submission. I did not. That's the limbic system, the mammal brain activates that, and there is no way that you with your human brain can influence that. And in later workshops, if you think, yeah, come on, let me do the whole series, in later workshops I'll give you examples of that, and also how to make clients really realize that and stop hating themselves. Each of these is a useful strategy with great survival value. I already talked about that. Can I have the next one, please? Fight is about you put the enemy out of how can I say, you just win, and the enemy is no longer a danger, etc. Flight is you bring yourself out of reach, you run and you run and you run, but that's only useful if you can run and your enemy cannot run as well as you. Can I have the next one, please? Can I have the next one? Yeah. You can just read it. I don't have to read it for you. You can read. And maybe this is yeah, some participants say, how about dissociation? Because dissociation is a little bit like submission. This kind of dissociation, the boop, client is boop, no longer there. Dissociation is on a psychological level what submission is at a physical level. And how can it be this submission and this dissociation? It is so hypo arousal. How does that combine with being activated by the mammal brain? Wee, danger and threat, danger and threat. This is a secret. Both submission and dissociation, they are activated because arousal is getting up, higher, and comes above the upper boundary. But by activating submission, whoop, arousal suddenly goes down completely. And submission is parasympathetic. It's the only one who's parasympathetic. Heartbeat goes down. Breathing gets slower. There is no more pain, awareness of pain, and it's also called the body prepares for death to come. The body is working towards dying, and that makes it paradoxically a brilliant survival strategy too. So it starts from very high arousal, but whoops, collapses to very low arousal, to hypo-arousal. And that's how it fits together. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. Nope. Yeah. What happens if the client is outside the window of tolerance? And please realize that damaged clients are outside the window of tolerance a lot of the time, a lot, both during therapy and in everyday life. They are outside the window of tolerance a lot of times. What does it mean? Cognitive brain, the thinking brain, human brain, shuts down, goes offline, no more clear thinking, no more new information that's absorbed, no more learning, and also information that is there becomes unavailable. And I think we all know this like exam situation, that you have an exam and ooh, you're scared and ooh, arousal goes up. And what do you get? A blackout. And suddenly there's nothing here anymore. And you did study and study and study, but empty. And that is because the arousal went up and went to hyper arousal, and that means cognitive brain is shutting down. All that wonderful information is no longer accessible. So the best thing to do when you have a blackout, bring arousal down in whatever way. I always say to my clients, have a drink. And they say, oh, are you sure? Oh, have a drink. A drink, bring the arousal down. But also do some breathing. That brings the arousal down. Or make a joke to yourself, or say affirmative things to yourself. Everything, or take some medication like a calming, something calming. Everything that brings the arousal down from hyper arousal to optimal arousal, suddenly all this information in your human brain becomes accessible again. Or I also know it from when maybe your superior wants to talk with you and you think, oh, kadoom, 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 kadoom. And you go into the room and boo, blackout, boo, you standing there, in the Netherlands we say with a mouthful of teeth, nothing coming up. And then you go, and once you're outside the room, I should have said this, I should have said that. Oh, that was an argument, that. Which means suddenly, by going out of the room, the arousal goes down and the information becomes available again. So that is blackout, which means mammal brain temporarily has taken over, and the human brain no is no longer online. And this is important to remember for therapy. Okay, can I have the next one, please? Okay, to my clients, once I have explained to them about hyperarousal, optimal arousal, hypoarousal, and how important it is to stay within the lines. If your arousal goes too high up, bring it down. If it goes too low, bring it up. This is what they need to learn. And I tell them, don't be a car without a dashboard and without a steering wheel or without a driver. Take control. Or don't be a ship without a sail or a compass or a captain, just drifting along. Take control. Know yourself and then develop awareness of your arousal. That's the first job, the first assignment for a client in therapy. Develop awareness of your arousal. And I'll show you in a couple of minutes how you do that with your clients. So develop awareness, because if you don't notice your awareness, well, there's nothing you can do. You're like a victim of your own arousal. Cool yourself down when it's too high, activate it when it's too low, just to stay within the window of tolerance. Can I have the next one, please? Okay, this is what I developed as how to help my clients develop awareness of their arousal and help to take control. And I call it the arousal thermometer. And I think you have got it as a part of all the things that are giving out for this webinar. I wrote a workbook for clients to do this, to do arousal management, to learn how to stay within the lines. And in this workbook, we worked with a thermometer also. And I printed for every new client. Once I explained about fluctuating arousal, upper boundary, lower boundary, hyperarousal, hypoarousal, optimal arousal. And then I print this for them, and that is the start of their arousal management. And you see there red and blue, and I couldn't do better. I'm sorry. I'm not so good with computers. It should be greenish in the middle. Please use your fantasy or make a better one. So, this arousal thermometer we use for the client to develop awareness on one side and to learn to take control on the other side. Can I have the next slide, please? This is how they fill it in. On the left side, we are talking about developing a continuous feeling for the arousal you're in. Continuous, every minute of the day. You have to know every minute, where am I? Am I high up? Am I low down? Am I in my middle? Where am I? And you develop that by recognizing your own signals. Signals is the way to develop awareness. So, my clients have to think about what are the recognition signals for me. Everybody has their own signals. No two clients have the same signals. No two therapists have the same signals. So, what recognition signals for me? For red, hyperarousal, mammal brain. For blue, hypoarousal, reptile brain. And greenish, human brain. They have to write those down. That's their assignment. And to help them find as many signals as they can find as they think body, think behavior, think interaction. Body signals. You could think about heartbeat. You could think about sweating. You could think about red face, or hot, or tension, muscle tension, etc. So, body signals, then behavior signals. I always give them an example of my mother. Well, we had 7 children. That's a lot of children. And my mother sometimes got, and when she was cooking, she would then put the cooking pans on the fire, and we all knew, oh gosh, her arousal is very high up. That's a behavior signal. Or my husband. When my husband did this, oops, look, I realized I have to keep my mouth shut now, even while I know I am right. I better keep my mouth shut now, because now he's very high up in his arousal. That's another behavioral signal. Interaction signal is how you relate to others. In red area, it could be looking for trouble or easy getting into a fight. In blue area, it could be making no contact or very little contact. just being not there. So what you want your client to do is for all three colors, all three arousal areas, body signals, behavior signals, and interaction signals. The more, the better. Okay, so this is to help the client get in touch with their arousal every moment of the day. But getting in touch with your arousal, and it doesn't help if you don't do anything. If you just are in touch, that's not enough. You have to take control. And I have this metaphor, and I hope it's not politically incorrect for India. And it is maybe a bit incorrect. I'm sure you are all very civilized, but maybe I am just a simple girl. And the metaphor that is actually very fitting for this is the metaphor of potty training. A baby just pees and just poops. No signals, no control, no nothing. But over the time, a child learns to recognize the body signals. Maybe I need to pee. Or oops, maybe I need to poop. Realizing the recognition signals is very, very helpful and an essential condition to do something about it. So learning to recognize your own signals is great and necessary, but it's not enough. If you recognize the signals, oh, I need to pee, or oh, I need to poop, and you don't do anything, you are still wetting your pants and you are still pooping in your trousers. So the other thing is taking control. And you help your client develop ways to do that. With on the right side, what can I do to help myself? If I am in red, in blue, in green. And again, body, behavior, and interaction. There's all you can get ideas from body. Oh, yeah, what can I do? Oh, yeah, behavior and interaction. So maybe on the body level, if you are very high up in red, what can you do? Maybe you put on some very loud music and you dance. Or other clients will say, when I am so high in red, I take a long, long, long shower. Or I go out for a walk. Or I do this, I do that. So what comes on the right side is for red, for blue, and for green. What can I do to help myself? And that is the coping strategies. So the left side is for how to recognize and how to realize where you are in your arousal. And the right side is for, okay, and now intervening or now taking control.
Is collapse of the current Russian regime in the next 5 years.
Can I have the next slide? Okay, so we will just get some ideas, but please ask your client to have their own ideas. Their own ideas are always the best. Can I have the next slides? And this is just I'm not going to read them for you. It's just for you to get some ideas. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, next one, please. Next one. Next one is behavioral signals. Next one. Next one. These are all from real clients, you know? Next one. Next one. Now we go for the green. We just had the red signals. Now we go for the green. And again, body, behavior, interaction. Next one. And you can review those at home because you will get the presentation and you can watch it as much as you want. So it's for now just to give you an idea. Okay. Next one. Next one. Now we go to the blue, body signals. Take your time for a moment to read this. Next one. Next one. Interaction signals. Next one. Now we go to, so we now have seen signals to help me recognize, arousal is too high, arousal is too low, etc. Now we go for, and what can I do? So again, we start at the red. What can we do? Next one. Next one. Now we get into green area. Next one. Blue area. What can we do? And the next one. Okay. Don't tell me we're at the end. Okay. So what I would like you to do now is an exercise that you are going to do right now in your home. And you think about this thermometer, and maybe you can get the picture on your screen? Yeah, let's try it. Can we put the arousal thermometer on the screen again? Can we do that? Go back in the slides to, oh yeah, great. Yeah. Next one. Can I have the next one? Yeah. Okay. So you go to this one and you all do it for yourself. You write down on the right side of a piece of paper your recognition signals for red, for blue, and for green. Body signals, behavior signals, interaction signals. Once you've done that, you go to, and what can I do to help myself when I am in red, in blue, in green? And if you are in green, you of course don't need a lot of help, but you think about how can I help myself to stay in green? And again, you do body coping strategies, behavior coping strategies, interaction strategies. So this is your assignment, and you get something like 10 or 15 minutes for it to fill it in completely. And please realize the more signals, the more effective your arousal thermometer will be. Get going.
Hello. Hello. Joany?
Yeah.
Everybody was silent. I thought maybe something is not happening.
I'm sorry. Please say it again and loud and clear.
Uh, no, I was just wondering because I didn't hear, so I thought that something is not right.
They are doing their exercise right now.
Okay.
They are filling in their own arousal thermometer with the recognition signals, their own, for red, for blue, for green, and the coping strategies they can use to help themselves in red, in blue, in green. If they follow the assignment, that is what they are doing. And this started at 1534 and will continue until 1544 or 1548 or something. I hope everybody is doing the exercise. How about starting again at 1:45? Oh, I don't know about your time, but in 3 minutes, starting again. How about that?
Yes, I think that should
Okay.
be fine.
There are some questions also, Joany, which I have
Good.
put it on the slide.
Good.
You want to
I
see
I
them?
see a lot of thumbs.
Yeah. So after you finish this exercise, there are some questions which you have to answer,
Yeah.
and I have
Yeah.
put them on the slide. I can share it after you
Yeah.
finish. So
I will tell a little bit more on how to work with this exercise with the clients, and then I'm ready for questions. And now they have done it themselves, there will be many more questions. Good. Yeah? Start again?
Yes, Joany, please start.
Okay. Can you check if everybody is with us again? Is everybody there?
Yes, they're all there.
Yes.
Yeah, good. So there are some things I want to tell you about this work with the client. And then once we've done that, there's room enough for questions. So just one case story. I had this client, Anita was her name, and how can I say? I always worked with the most difficult of clients, not with the happy few, but with the unhappy few. And her life was one disaster after another, and she didn't manage to build up a beautiful, nice life. She didn't. She just didn't. And the one thing that was, how can I say, beautiful in her life was her motherhood. It was the only thing that was not spoiled or failed or whatever. Being a mother of these children, that was the only successful part of her life. I knew that. Okay. So then one day I was in my office, and something like half an hour after closing time, after it's time to go home, the telephone rang. Ring, ring. And I took it up, and it was her mother. It was Anita's mother. And she said, Anita is on her way to her ex-husband with a knife in her scooter. And I thought, if your daughter is on her way to her ex-husband with a knife in her scooter, why do you call me? You have to call the police. That's what I told her immediately. Call the police immediately. And then, boff, I put the telephone down just to make sure that she would call the police, which she did. And then the police was called, and yes, the mother was right. Anita was on her way to her ex-husband with a knife in her scooter, planning to kill him. And it had to do with child abuse. I will not go into that. I thought, I understand that you want to kill this man, but don't do it, because it will bring so many problems to your life. You have enough problems already. Don't do this. Don't stab your ex-husband. So the police stopped her, found a knife, and she was, when the police has to make a judgment, is this criminal or is this psychiatry? And thank God the police decided this is psychiatry, and she was hospitalized. But her children were brought to her mom to stay there. And that was the worst thing that could happen to Anita, that her children were taken away from her. So in the weeks that followed, I contacted the youth service that goes over this. I said, what does she need to show you, or what is needed to happen in order to get her children back? That's all she wanted. Can I have my children back? And this woman said, yeah, she has to control her impulses. And I thought, I agree with you. She has to control her impulses. But yeah. And then I realized, I have this arousal thermometer. I invited this woman of child services. I invited Anita, and we had a talk together, the three of us, and I explained also this person about the arousal thermometer and about staying within the window of time.
So
And
sorry.
then I'll just continue. And
Yeah.
I asked this official if she can make an arousal thermometer and sticks to it and works with it, would that be enough for you to bring her children back home? And this person said, yes. So that's what she did. Anita made a wonderful, she made her own beautiful arousal thermometer, stick to it, and her children came back. And if you want, I think this thermometer is inside the workbook that I have sent to you, that you already have received. It's a workbook for clients on all this psychoeducation and then developing their own arousal thermometer. And I think I put one or two examples, and one of those examples is Anita's, that brought her children back. So it's so important. It's such an important, take control of your life. God damn it. In a very gentle way. So the impact of this arousal thermometer, how can I say, it makes a client a good client for therapy because they are within their window of tolerance, or they can discuss with you, I'm outside of my window of tolerance. What can I do? How do I get myself back? And this responsibility of bringing myself back between the lines, that is maybe even more important than the coping strategies. This idea of I have to regulate myself. It's my job, and everything depends on that. So now, one of the things I want to tell you, I now go through my list. You have received from me a workbook for clients that you can use to do this with your clients. And you have received a list of more than 100 coping strategies, just in case the client says, I don't know. I hate that answer from clients. And if you stay with the whole series of webinars, we will we will go over that later on. The I don't know client and how to deal with the I don't know client. But some clients, they are seriously trying, but they don't know coping strategies. For those clients, I have sent you a whole list of coping strategies. How can I say? It's organized into chapters, and there's a lot of coping strategies, and that will give your clients ideas. And if they don't have ideas of themselves, you can use the ideas in a coping list. But then please do not print the coping list for them. Don't just You can print it, but then you give it to them and say with a green marker, and you say, okay, here is a list. Go through it and mark every strategy that you think maybe it could work for me. Maybe. And then ask your clients to try 3 of those strategies every week and report back to you. This is helpful, this is not, this is helpful, this is not. So don't just give it to them and good luck, but you give it to them and you ask for, let me see how you are working with it. So that's one command. And you have this list. You have the workbook and you have the list. And then please realize this is the first thing you do with your clients in therapy. And you always used it as prognostic. The way they are dealing with this assignment is the way they will be dealing with the therapy. If they are taking it in, paying attention, doing their work, doing and applying it in everyday life, therapy will be a wonderful success. If they I'm not taking it in really, and they are not really doing their assignments, say, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. They are probably not doing the client's job. So I use it as prognostic. For example, do they come back to me with a thermometer, recognition signals, and the how can I help myself signals, or is it in, how can I say, papers that are turned upside down, or oh, I forgot that, or I have lost that. You know enough. If the client is not doing this, probably they are not taking the therapy seriously. Don't waste your time. Please know, okay, you are probably not taking the therapy seriously, and please do not invest too much. Other people need you. Okay. What is good about this? It is a language. It's the language of colors, the language of red, blue, green. It's very simple from now on to ask your client, oh, were you in red? Were you in blue? Where were you? And what I think is important to, I really believe in very good psychoeducation, because it makes your client a good co-therapist. If the client knows nothing, how can they be a good co-therapist? And if they are informed and with you, they are a good co-therapist, and you do the therapy with the 3 of you, me, the client, and the co-therapist and the client. So this is important stuff for the co-therapist and my client. And if the client brings a beautiful arousal thermometer next time, I say, yo, well done, good job, let's laminate it. So you laminate it in your laminating machine, and client will, how can I say, put it on the fridge or on the mirror, and you applaud. You say, yo, so good for you. And you come back to it every time. So I've done therapy for 45 years. When I was young, full of ideals, I would ask my clients every week, how are you? at the end of those 45 years. I never, never ask clients, how are you? If you ask them, how are you? They will start complaining about life, about the world, about the family, and after some complaining, the therapy session is almost over and they didn't learn anything. So instead of asking, how are you? I started to ask a different question. I said, give me 2 numbers. One number is for how well, how good did you try to apply everything you learned? How good did you try to apply your coping strategies, your this, your that? So how well did you do your client job? And I told them that is the most important number in the therapy. That is what in the end will decide how much you get out of therapy. But sometimes you do your thinking best and you do whatever you can, but still it's it's a drama. So give me also a number for how are you? So how good did you try to use and apply everything you learned from 0 to 10, how much? And the other one is, and how did that work out? So the client gives you 2 numbers. And depending on client and therapy, and I ask more about what did you do, and that gives me every reason to say, oh, well done and so good and wow and etc. But also when they say, I really, really tried from 0 to 10 and 8, but still I felt horrible. The 2. My heart opens and I can, from the bottom of my heart, ask, tell me about it. But if they say from 0 to 10, how well did you try? Yeah, a 4. I will say, oh, expressing, I'm sorry, I work very hard for you in this therapy. How come you are not working very hard? So, depending on what you as a therapist thinks is necessary, you can go for what they tried and what they did and etc. or the result. And I always make clear in the end, it's your hard work that determines the result. If you want to know more about this, please stay with us on the following seminars. I think this is about arousal management for today. I think there are probably questions. I don't know. Somebody will do something. Somebody do something.
Thank you, Joany. We do have questions. I think Dr.
Good.
Sushma has put it as a PowerPoint, which she'll share, and you can see the questions and answer.
Will we be able to get a recording of this session? Yes, of course. You can have my slides, you can have the extras, this workbook for the clients, and this long list of coping strategies. Of course you can have. I want you to be happy. I want you to have everything you need to work. Okay, oh, I see a lot of hearts. Can you distinguish between fawning and on the it's not resubmit, but freeze. Fawning as a survival behavior response is is one of the list of 4. Fight, flight, freeze, submission. Fawning is submission. The difference is fight, flight, freeze are organized from the sympathetic nervous system, and fawning, submission, is organized from the parasympathetic nervous system. And that, but all 4 are activated because arousal is getting up too high. Okay, that's my answer. I hope it's enough. Is submission same as fawning? Fawning is a form of submission, and playing dead is a form of submission. There are some forms, but basically fawning is a form of submission and is parasympathetic survival reaction. I know about that there is some discussion about the reptile brain doing that, and or the mammal brain doing the threat system. And if you really go into the details, everything is like that, but also a bit of that, and then and for clients, I just simplified it to make them, how can I say, to make it easy getting. But I realize on the real brain knowledge level, there is a lot to be said about that. And you're probably right. That is from there. Okay, can I have the next one? Can I have the next slide with the questions? Okay. Will we be able to get a recording? I hope so. Maybe one of the organizers should answer that. Okay, then next question. What about the times when some people report that they think or perform better when they are under stress? I am one of those persons. It's once you was if you are, how can I say, if you think about the window of tolerance, hyperarousal is here, mammal brain takes over. There's no thinking there. If you participate in the whole series, at one point I will probably tell you the story about the man-eating sharks in the aquarium and how that shows that the mammal brain cannot think, as in thinking with the words and stuff like that. But I am one of those people who were good. I'm you know the expression, all Johnny Cash works good under pressure? I do too. I work good under pressure. If there's no pressure, I think, oh, I can, yeah, oh yeah, I have time, blah, blah. But once I get under pressure, tudum, 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 tudum. So, what does it mean? It does not mean I am in my mammal brain. I'm not. Mammal brain cannot think. But within the window of tolerance, there is 2 areas. There's the upper area, it's still below the upper boundary, and there is the lower area, is still above. And this lower area is called the comfort zone in lay language, comfort zone. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing really interesting is happening. La-di-la-di, la-di-la-di. For therapy, You don't want that. The client saying, yeah, it's all the fault of my mother and bloody and my childhood and bloody. That's not what you are looking for. There's no energy there. It's a comfort zone. On the upper side of the optimal arousal zone, there is the enriched learning zone. Is where there is a challenge, but you are still within the window of tolerance. And that is where all those great ideas are born. There is a challenge, but you can still function. So that is probably what this person is asking about. And the person who says, would love to have a workshop, I would love to tell you. It's a great story. I always enjoy when I can tell it. So keep following us. It will be there. It will be in the beginning, because this arousal management stuff is the first step on the whole stabilization part of treatment. And somewhere already here comes the client who says, I don't know. And the client, yes, but. Yes, but. For both, I hate, I don't know, and I hate, yes, but. But you have to deal with them. They are your clients, and I would tell you what the interventions I developed for, I don't know, and for yes, but. Okay, next slide, please.
No, that's all. That's all.
Are we done?
Okay. So that was really great. Parul, what is
Any more
next?
questions? I think one or two questions didn't get answered. Do you all want to ask if anybody feels like asking?
Oh,
Maybe
please,
one
we have time. So, and maybe if you
couple of questions.
if you think about how it was for you to do these signals and to do what can I do to help myself? For example, many people told me, hey, that's remarkable. The things I do to help myself when I am in red, it's the same things I do when I'm in blue. How can that be? Yes, that is what's happening. For example, going out for a walk with my dogs is very good when I am upset, but it's also very good when I am down and blue. Sometimes, of many times, it's the same coping strategies that are helpful to bring arousal down from too high or bring arousal up from too low. For example, the same strategies. And later on, if you are going to follow this whole treatment plan, we come to affect regulation, and then again, there will be a lot of coping strategies that you can use for arousal management, but also can use for affect regulation. And they are also very good for daily life, to survive in daily life. Everybody is silent now, somehow.
Parul?
I think everybody is there were so many hearts and so many likes,
Yeah.
Joany. I would like to invite Dani to say a few words.
Daddy, my old friend.
You're on mute,
I
Dani.
cannot hear her.
Hi, Johnny, my dear
Hey,
friend.
Daddy.
My
Wake up.
sister.
Okay. So, Johnny, we are honored to have you among us in the Asia community. Perhaps the participants here would do well to know that Johnny played a crucial role in the success since the first India Asia conference in Bali until now. We will never forget your support in establishing and developing India Asia.
You don't
The
have to
knowledge,
tell, Danny, you
yeah,
don't have to
yes,
tell
yeah.
me all this.
I know you will cry. Okay. The knowledge you share is very beneficial, and may your kindness and generosity be rewarded accordingly by the Almighty God. Amen. Thank you, Johnny.
Just for you, and thank you to the Lord. Okay. Anyone think we
Okay.
can do? Oh, I see still some questions popping up. Can you bring them to me somehow in the chat? I see.
So somebody has asked that they would like a workshop on working with clients who say, I don't know in therapy. So
Yeah. We will do. It's in the next workshops. And I read a comment on how can I distinguish between action and interaction in these
Blue face.
coping strategies. You cannot. I think that's a good thing to explain. Um, or sometimes a body signal and a behavior signal, you don't know. For example, if you have this stressy telephone call and you walk, ice beer, we call that in the Netherlands. Is that a body signal? Is it a behavior? It doesn't matter. Sometimes you think, yeah, could be both. It doesn't matter. I gave you those three: body, behavior, and interaction, just to generate as many ideas as possible. But sometimes it's the same, or you don't know. Doesn't matter. As long as the client knows what signal to look for and what coping strategy maybe to use. That's enough. And sometimes it's the same. You don't know, but it's not essential either. Am I clear?
Yep.
yes, there's one more question. Are clients who loop in somatic symptoms during processing in hypoarousal?
Wait. Can you please go back and ask me the question very slow and very clear? I am
It's
Dutch.
it's
I'm
there in
Dutch
the
and I'm
chat.
old.
It's
Huh?
there in the chat, Joany. It's written. If you can see the chat.
I cannot read that. There's no chat here on my screen.
So our
Okay.
clients who loop in somatic symptoms during processing in hypoarousal, those who loop in their somatic symptoms, are they in hypoarousal during processing?
Let me see if I understand. You have these clients that during their trauma processing, they are just telling you one physical uh, uh, um, oh, my English. They will just talk the language of the body and not the language of the soul. Is that what you are asking?
Maybe Rupa can highlight it. She has asked this.
Yes, she is saying yes.
Okay. When clients only speak the language of the body and not the language of the soul, that makes it really difficult to work with them, because we are psychologists or social workers, we talk the language of the soul. And if clients only speak the language of the body, it becomes very difficult to make the connections. And it does not really mean, I don't think that always means they are in blue, that they are in hypoarousal. It is more about not speaking psychological language. And one of the things I will teach you when we move up in this treatment program is the golden key question. I will just briefly tell it now, but I will really teach you later on. And the golden key question is the screwdriver of the therapist, and helps you to when you are confronted with problem behavior, for example, only talking body symptoms, when you are confronted with problem behavior, you can ask this question to get to the underlying dynamic of the behavior. And it's one of my favorite interventions. And you can use it for suicide attempts, self-harm, eating, how do you say eating way too much, and drinking too much, and beating your child, and beating your husband, all kinds of problem behavior. You can use this intervention, the golden key question, to get underneath, to get to what is the underlying problem or the underlying conflict, or etc. And I will just name it to you now, but I will teach you later on. For now, it goes like this. No doubt you have a good and important reason to what could this good and important reason be? That is the golden key question. And you can use that maybe for clients who do not speak psychological language. Or you can ask yourself, this client probably has a good and important reason not to speak psychological language, but to speak body language. What could this good and important reason be? So that helps you to get underneath and finding out what is really going on that makes the client only talk body and not soul. More in the next. Are there more questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And, it was really wonderful journey indeed. And you can see that people's interest was so nicely sustained all through. And maybe Parul would like to say something about the recording, as some questions have been asked. Or Chintan can answer that.
Please do.
Yeah, I can answer that as well. We have recorded it, and we will send it to the participants, or we can keep it. We can ask Joany if we can keep the recording on our India website maybe for a month. Would that
Whatever.
be okay, Joany?
You can do it for a year or a lifetime.
Huh.
It's
Oh,
yours.
thank
It's
you.
yours.
Thank
It's
you
a
so
gift. It's yours.
So I guess the recording will be available to everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we shall end it. Thank you. Any last words, Dr. Mrinalini? You can see.
As everyone is overwhelmed, so am I. It was such a simple
Oh my
topic
goodness.
to begin with, but we realized that there is so much to understand and so much to learn. So thank you, Joany, for being so generous in sharing your knowledge, and we look forward to more such interactions. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. A pleasure. I see all hearts on my screen.
Yes.
I know.
Oh, great. Okay.
So thank you, everybody. And good
Thanks.
night from us.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
Bye,
Bye.
Johnny.